There's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave. I've been doing shit my way, or the highway. And in the driveway is a nice range. Cause I grind through the climb, I invite pain. You'll never hear me, bitch, nah, I don't complain. Just gotta flip the switch and you can go and obtain anything you want, anything you need. Your mind's got the key ingredient, it's belief. They deceive with the negativity, but I just slide right by that energy. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. You got a mind, but even that could change. You could flip the gray matter like some batter in your brain. That's why I say, fake it till you make it A. And if you play that game, then you just might make a change. Rearrange all the bad to okay. Take the worst thoughts saying, turn them to a game. Take the best thoughts saying, put them on display. On repeat in your brain till you're feeling no more pain. Never slow yourself down, you can do some more. Push past all the pain and you'll find a door. Open it up and finally explore everything that you thought you could never do before. And even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.
And we are live. What is up, crew? It is Wednesday, June 15th. It's a two-game slate, WNBA. We just had a early WNBA game, which is kind of unusual, but it seems like they're pretty good on that single game, which is always good to see. The game came through, high scoring, back and forth. Love to see it. So I hope we keep that hot streak going with these two games. I think we have one game in particular that will be a particular interest for us to target, and we'll get into that. But yeah, first, let's check in with our boy Eric. The usual. How are we doing today, Eric?
Not bad, man. We got some heat across the country today. It's pretty hot outside, and crushed this morning's single game slate, man. We had so many screenshots. That was awesome. But feeling good, though. Ready to get this two-gamer.
Yeah, for sure. I saw those screenshots. Love to see it, man. That's what we're here for. But yeah, I mean, now we got about 2 hours before lock. Try to wrap up about an hour and a half or so to give time to build cards and strategize as a crew. Dive into it. Let's see who's trickling in chat, and let's catch up with chat. We got Mike saying, your best night ever in. Let's do it again. Glad to hear it, Mike. Glad to hear it. Cher said, let's go, fellas. Let's go. Gun in here saying, you're. Underrated. WNBA best on PrizePick by a mile. Brianna Jones, 12.5 points, but 14.5 points on Underdog. Yeah, Underdog likes to inflate their lines. Name Underdog. It's best to go under there. Hey, Fish fan, man. Good to see you here. You're underrated. He said, Brianna, I meant TJ Randall, crazy night, money moves. Love it. Chatoa, the usual. What's up, my dude? What's up, guys? Guida, part of the crew, man. What's up? Let's make some monies. Yeah, let's do it. Cowboy said, need a bounce back. Let's ride. Hey, let's do it, man. Let's do it. Sean's said, good stuff yesterday and this morning. Thanks. Hey, anytime, man. Anytime. Hater Anza said, what's up, Hater? And Cowboy finished off, said, Rin for the win. Yeah, she playing well, but we'll get into that. It's a tough matchup for sure. Everyday said, love the research, guys. Appreciate that. That's why we're here, man. That's why we're here. In any injury news that we need to catch up on? We were kind of waiting on Phoenix news because they are on a back-to-back, and we have a couple of vets in the lineup, with obviously Taurasi being a vet at 40 years old, and Tina's been in the league for about 11 years now. So I was curious to see on a back-to-back if they were going to rest one of them or announce any kind of minute limit, but I haven't seen anything, and they props. So I think it's under the assumption that they're full go. But still need to keep an eye out on Taurasi news. I would not be surprised if we got a late scratch for her for any reason. But yeah, I guess we can start with that game. I think this is the game. It opens at a 1-point spread in favor of Indiana, and I think that's just because Indiana playing at home and Phoenix being on a back-to-back. Some to point out in this matchup. So Phoenix, while they're on a back-to-back, they did lose last night to Washington, which ended a 3-game winning streak for them. So they were kind of on a heater. And, it's kind of important to point out, like, we've kind of been bashing Phoenix and kind of attacking them, especially because they're bottom in defensive rating. They allow like 86 points per game, which is bottom 3 in the league. And they're like almost, third worst defensive rating. But they've had the in the league by far. Only 3 of their 14 games have gone against opponents with a losing record, and they have not played bottom tier teams like Indiana or Minnesota yet, and now they get Indiana today. So that's something take in consideration when you're looking at their stats across the board. They have had a tough matchup, while a team we're going to talk about in the next game has had a very easy schedule and a lot of inflated wins and stats. But we'll get into that later. So just want to touch on that. But I mean, if this was a great spot for Phoenix to bounce back after that loss, this would be it against Indiana, who has one of the worst defensive ratings, and they run a very fast pace. They're second in pace, and they allow the most points in the paint, and they foul at the highest rate. They are first in opponent of free throw attempts allowed. So definitely some things that target Indiana. So we probably would definitely be interested in some Phoenix players here. And right off the bat, key names that we would be interested in would be Skylar and Diamond. I know Diamond really showed up yesterday and played well. And as a result, Petty off the bench took a hit in terms of minutes and also just production. She did not have a great night. And I feel like their production is kind of negatively correlated. When one's doing well, the other one takes a and it hurts their production overall. So Diamond's been a fan favorite of the crew, someone we like targeting. It's a great spot for her. Her points are still at 12.5, and her fantasies is still really favorable to target at 20. She's averaging over 24 fantasy points per game. So you're getting a nice little gap there. And Indiana, in terms of turnover percentage, but she could get run into some stocks here. And I'm really curious, maybe even if Taurasi plays, maybe they limit her minutes. She did almost play 30 minutes last night, even though it was a blowout. She played pretty much till the end of the fourth, checked out with like 2 minutes left. So maybe she doesn't play a full run here, even if she does play. But if for any reason she's a late scratch, then I mean, Skylar and Diamond's props are all going to get super in that in the past. But I think Diamond and Tina probably have the best matchup against the front court of Indiana, since Indiana does give up the most points in the paint. So I was really curious as what Tina's props were going to open at, and of course, all her props got inflated today, well over her season average for a majority of her props, including her points and her rebounds and her PRA and fantasy. But I think there's some maybe favorable lower lines that are down as potential targets, and that's her free throw prop at 1.5, Indiana's allowing the most free throw attempts, so they're fouling, like I said, at the highest rate. And Tina's she's a decent free throw shooter. She's averaging 2.3 free throws made on the season per game. So I feel like if she just gets to the charity strike 1 or 2 times, she should clear that easily. Now, the only thing to take into consideration has been taking a lot more threes lately. So that could reduce her chances of getting to the free throw line and drawing fouls. And if for any reason she's limited on a back-to-back or she's not as aggressive because she doesn't have the energy, that would be something to consider. But they also have her three-point prop. With that said, with the three-point shooting increase, they have her three-point prop at 1.5 as well. And she's been chucking it from three, and she's a pretty efficient three-point shooter. She's averaging almost 2 three-point made. So I think those 2 props stood out to me for her. And then, like I said, you can go to Diamond's points or her fantasy. Those are the 2 that stuck out to me. And I'm curious to see what do you think on Phoenix side?
Yeah, and playing along with these low prop lines as well. We know, as you mentioned, that Indiana is a really foul-prone team, whether that's offensive or defensive fouls. So I actually like her, not only the free throws there fairly low, but her stocks at 1.5 as well.
Yeah.
She's gonna be really involved in the front court here. Well, I say that, but she's actually been a little more passive on the glass, and as you mentioned, she's floating out to the perimeter more to kind of act as a 3 guard for the team here. So I'm curious to see what kind of offensive formation they're going to roll with tonight. If they're just going to leave Turner kind of in the box by herself and let the outside work itself out, or if she's going to try to mix it up. I would personally love to see her push the lane a little bit more and try and really work the defense here. So it's kind of an interesting coaching decision that we'll need to see how they decide to go with it. Phoenix they were really bad to start the season, but have had a really good turnaround here. And I have some pause with them on the road. They haven't had the best record home road split this year, but they did give it to Washington the other day on the road. And lately they've been keeping the games close and actually performing closer to their season averages that we've come to expect. So, with Charles, as you mentioned, her lines are definitely juiced right now. She had a poor game 2 games ago and then had a really good game after that. And PrizePicks is just kind of taking it on themselves to juice it up here, probably for the pace up and the matchup here. So I'm kind of curious to see really, for these, at least for the Phoenix side of the ball, who we feel comfortable with. Personally, I love Diamond today. I think she's just one of their young players that, regardless of game script, unless she's in foul trouble, she's going to play probably 30 plus minutes a night. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I think Diamond and Tina stood up. And then, Skylar is always in play, especially against his teams with her fantasy points upside. But it's at 31, I believe. Yeah, which is still well below her season average. She had a great game again yesterday. She could very well do that again today if like I said, for any reason Taurasi's not a full go and is held back a little bit with her age on a back-to-back.
Definitely.
I would probably rank it Diamond 1 and then maybe Skylar's fantasy 2, and then I would get on some maybe these lower lines for Tina, especially her free throw prop. It's just setting up really nicely with her. I wish we got Diamond's free throw prop, but of course we did not, because Diamond is going to be aggressive and attack the basket as well.
Yeah.
And Indiana being such foul prone, like we said, those are probably the ones I'm going to mark down for our early leans and targets. So, do you want to go with Diamond's fantasy or her real point as number 1?
I think are we getting attacks for her PRA or her fantasy?
Her PRA went up from yesterday, but her fantasy went down, I believe.
Yeah, it did. So I don't mind the fantasy here. We've we've seen she's been getting a little bit more involved in the peripheral effects too. Especially last night, she had 8 rebounds, which is crazy. So I think a little bit more safer on the fantasy score. Yeah, I think fantasy score for
Okay.
her.
And then Tina, do we want to? I mean, I would nominate her free throws one, and then maybe her points too, because if she gets hot from three,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like I feel like out of this entire slate, these two games, I feel like she has the best matchup. It's just I just worry about the back to back. That's my only reservation. If they weren't on a back to back, I would be slamming this in.
Yeah, and that's kind of, how we need to build our cards tonight. Either the back-to-back or any of the fatigue is going to be a factor and you want to fade it, or just assume this game is going to be a full go.
And with how bad Indiana is in the paint, I know Brianna Turner burned some people yesterday. Because she put up a string of solid games, and a big reason why Phoenix was on a 3-game winning streak was because how well she was playing. But if she's going to be playing again, like you said, we don't know how Phoenix is going to approach this matchup and scheme wise. But if for any reason she's back to playing the more center minutes and center role, her points dropped from 4.5 to 4. She did not score at all yesterday, but the opportunity will be there today in this matchup. What are your thoughts on her?
Yeah, so for just the points alone, that it's such a low bar and she can definitely clear that. But we've also seen at the beginning of the season and then here this last game as well, she is well capable of scoring 0 points or like 1 or 2 points at max. The rebounding definitely burned us. That was honestly a weird game. Diamond kind of picking up all those extra rebounds there really cut into her production. So I think honestly, and especially if you guys, I don't know if y'all follow them on Twitter or anything, but they have Turner as their cover girl for their game day tweet. So, maybe coach wants to mix it up a little bit here. If we are erring on the side of caution as far as starter minutes, Turner and Diamond, but Turner in particular, she's locked in for a hefty amount of minutes, pretty much blowout proof like every night. So if we go there, I think with her, she might be kind of a safety net play if you're not feeling comfortable with any of the starters or outside of, say, Diamond herself. But either her rebounding or her PRA, I think, are definitely in play today.
Okay. I'll put it as mid tier, but yeah.
I did want to give a little shout out, and I don't remember who somebody mentioned it in our free Discord earlier. Links down below in case you were wondering. But Skylar, her free throw at 3.5
Yeah,
in this
yeah,
matchup,
yeah.
I definitely wanted to mention that.
Yeah, we talked about that, especially if Tarasi was ruled out at all, I would be even like more. But yeah, maybe if Tarasi's just limited on minutes, even more reason for that free throw. I mean, she's going to be aggressive and dominate usage no matter what still, so definitely get behind that. And what was her PRA at?
For Skylar?
13.5.
Oh, for Turner? Yeah. And it's such a low bar, It went down a 0.5 point from last meeting or from the last game.
Yeah. And then they kept Tarasi's assists still at 4.5. She easily cleared that yesterday. In this pace up spot, it's perfect environment for her to thrive again as a playmaker. Again, the only concern is being a vet, and at her age on a back-to-back, we have no idea what to expect minute-wise or production. I don't believe we've seen her on a back-to-back yet, so I'm not entirely sure what to expect. So that would kind of make me want to hold back on that.
Yeah, if I was to pick any of her props, the 4.5 assists would definitely be the one to go to. It's almost a point. It's just a little shy of a 1.5 from about her season average if you go back for her history, and we've seen the team, especially clicking as a whole and winning games, that's directly correlated with all of their props that should be higher that they've been hitting. And for her, I think even more so, if there is fatigue that's going to play in this game, she's going to be looking to pass more and not go for these open look threes.
Yeah, and that along those same lines, she could turn it over too. She's being lazy as well, so they have her at 2.5 turnovers. You can consider, but I just worry if say she doesn't play that many minutes, it's just less opportunity to turn the ball over. Obviously, I mean it's right at her season average for turnovers too. But Indiana's not a great defensive team that puts pressure on offenses and forces that make turnovers. So, yeah, I would maybe be less inclined for that. But yeah, we can put that on as a mid tier. Okay, we don't have any team starter props yet, so we can't do anything on that. But is there anything else you want to touch on for Phoenix?
No, I think honestly that was going to be about it. Our concerns with fatigue, and this is also the fourth game played in 6 days. So
Yeah.
a couple of things to consider, but me personally, just versus Indiana, I don't think that there's going to be much that's going to be slowing them down. And unless the coach just makes a few last minute decisions, this game should be a full go.
I agree. Okay, and then Indiana. Again, they are in a favorable spot here too. Phoenix also runs a pretty fast pace, top 5 pace. So it should be a track meet. So it should be a lot of possessions and a lot of shots. And Phoenix is not the best defense. Like I said, they're third in amount of points allowed and defensive rating, bottom 4. And Phoenix is a really bad rebounding team overall too. They're last in rebound percentage, and they allow the third most threes and per game to the opposing team. So definitely think there's some things we can target against Phoenix here with some Indiana. The one I wanted to go to right away would be Kelsey Mitchell for her scoring. Her points are up to 17.5, but in this matchup, I feel like she could really thrive. Still below her season average, and they have her 3-point prop at 2.5, and that's right around her season average. And again, Phoenix, they give up a lot of threes, and if Kelsey, she's going to get it done. I feel like with her point prop, could shoot 2 or 3 threes. So that's something you can consider, either her points or her 3-point prop. Something I had marked down, and the other one I marked down, which I really like, is going to be Melissa Smith's rebound. They have it at 6.5. She's been crushing the glass. She came off a career game last game. I mean, she went off. I think she had a double-double and crazy amount of rebounds. So it's the perfect spot for her to rack up more rebounds against the worst percentage team in the league. I'm seeing. Let me see that last game. What did she have? 14 rebounds against Minnesota. And again, it's Minnesota, one of the bottom tier teams. But yeah, Phoenix is right there in terms of stats. And she had 21 points. So she was super efficient as a rookie. So I think I really like her. But if you wanted to capture her points too, I get it. And you can go with her her PRA being only 21.5. Those are the ones that stood out to me. And so what are your thoughts on those two and any others?
Yeah, I definitely like Smith today. A little torn between her rebounding and points, to be honest, just because I think that both of them are definitely in play today. But for this pace up and some of the inefficiencies that Phoenix has as far as defending and being efficient in their defensive paint area, I do love that 6.5 rebounds, and probably take a couple cards, honestly, with all three of those, the PRA, the rebounding, and the points, just because limited data with her, we don't know exactly what her ceiling is. Last game she popped for 50 fantasy score, which is insane for WNBA. So she could be, one of these guys, the limit player, but Right now, we don't know, but I'm willing
Yeah.
to at least roll the dice on this game situation in a pace-up matchup.
Yeah, it's being a rookie, a lot of unknowns surrounding her. But if with rebounding, a lot of it's effort and energy, and with Phoenix being on a back-to-back and traveling, if they're lacking any energy and effort, and Smith coming off of you know a game where she career game for her where she popped off, maybe she carries that energy and momentum into this one, hustles and grabs those boards in this matchup. And if Phoenix gets cold after having worn out legs and they're not getting their full shot rotation up, it would make sense to go with her rebounds. And then yeah, I agree, the PRA second. And then what are your thoughts on Kelsey's points or 3-point prop?
Yeah, her points prop are fairly going to be live almost any given night. I think as long as they're under that 18 range, we're getting up close to the uncomfortable click area. But she just takes so many shot attempts, and
Yeah.
if you feel like this softer matchup, maybe we cut some of the points or the large gap between her points and her 3-point prop. I would definitely side with probably the 3-point prop there, but um, man, she takes so many shots. It's
Yeah.
you know, s- I wouldn't mind her points in this matchup here, just because they need somebody that's going to be scoring at all times, or this game's going to get out of control real quick.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I saw a stat on her. It was kind of crazy. I think she has 9 games where she scored like 20 or more points. So she definitely has that scoring upside. And like you said, it's just due to the sheer volume of shots going up from her. Um, and then secondary pieces. You always have Danielle Robinson, enticing prop lines. And then Victoria has shown upside with her scoring lately. Any of those would you roll the dice on?
There's a couple that are still fairly low. Robinson, her PRA, I feel, is still fairly low, with just kind of some of the props leveling out a little bit more. We attacked her points prop this last time, and I know that was a really good play. We could here again, but I think just with her being a little bit more involved in the peripherals, like last game, she had 4 rebounds and 6 assists. So did a huge amount of heavy lifting in that alone. But probably the PRA looks pretty enticing for her, and you could roll the dice on some of these secondary pieces, but the the coach has been a little back and forth, and Indy's still on my list of teams to not 100% trust. Um,
Yeah, they have the second worst offensive rating, so understandable.
yeah, honestly, I'll probably just have a few pieces for Smith Mitchell and a couple of Robinson one-offs, but nothing with any kind of confidence out of those two. Um, Egbo's always in the conversation, I would say, her between her rebounding or her points, honestly.
It's just the
But
foul trouble, right?
yeah,
I was
yeah,
looking at fouls per 100 possession in the league today, and yeah, Egbo's up there. And interestingly, Skylar, Tarasi, and Diamond are up there, and then like top 20 players, especially just overall fouls per game too. All three of them foul at a very high rate as well.
yeah. I mean, honestly, we could get a hockey fight out there tonight, and I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, yeah, and Alyssa is not immune to fouling either. She can rack up fouls as a rookie too, so something to keep in mind. Um, yeah, I mean this is a prime rebounding spot for her, but I feel like her rebounds have taken a hit because of Melissa's just soaking up so many boards lately, and just the foul trouble for Egbo. So I've been staying away from. It is a good matchup.
Yeah, and they've been working Emily off the bench into the rotation a little bit more and more. So any kind of foul trouble, coach is going to be quick to pull the trigger on getting that player off the floor, especially if you pick up two.
Yeah, yeah, and we didn't get many free throw props for Indiana, like we did for Phoenix, but the only two that we have so far is Danielle Robinson at 1.5. She's averaging almost 2 made. Something if you want a low line, consider, like I said, Skylar, Diamond, Tarasi all fouled a pretty high rate. And then they have Melissa at 1.5 as well.
Yeah, that's about all I'm going to have interested in on this side of the ball, at least.
Okay. Let's take questions and look at comments from this is our current target list right now. Kind of in a rank order, I think. Yeah, let's take questions from chat and see what they think so far. Jatoa said Bree 18.5 PRA will be core play. Talking about Brianna Turner? No, she's at 13.5 PRA. Are you talking about the next game, Brianna Jones? Yeah. Yeah, we'll get to that. Hey fellas, Sean said, "Hey fellas, ready to rob PrizePicks tonight? Always, man. We're the Robin Hood of PrizePicks." Emerson Baby Cat Shirt said, "Turner burned us on all ins besides unders." Yeah. She's one of those players. Franklin said, "Afraid of the Turner burn." Yeah, for sure. But matchup for her to thrive in, it's definitely this one. Indiana has been I feel like the Houston Rockets of the WNBA, where you just always want to attack them.
Oh yeah, all offense, no defense.
Yeah, and fast pace.
Yeah, pace up versus everyone.
Yeah. Emerson's baby guys. Melissa's 6.5 assists. He likes. Or I think he meant rebounds.
Yeah, that's his next comment.
Okay. Melissa's free throw. Yeah, I think you can consider both her and Robinson's free throw props being so low, and this fast-paced environment is just going to be more possessions and more opportunity to draw fouls. And like I said, Phoenix, they have players that foul a lot and average almost three plus fouls a game. Josh, are you going to? ECW said, "Josh, are you going to sneak in a deposit on PrizePicks?" No, I unfortunately can't. My only hope is that I get a promo job from PrizePicks because, yeah, I can't. I had to empty my account and stop. So, I'm still going to share what I would have played and cards that I would have played with you guys, and just live vicariously through you guys. Jason said, "Are we thinking first half props better, or are these games going to be close?" I would think that this game has probably the highest chance, and I know it's obvious to say that because it's 1 point spread, but I think with Phoenix being on a back-to-back would keep this game closer, and they're playing on the road. If Phoenix is at home and they weren't on a back-to-back, I think Phoenix would have a good chance to pull away, but this game environment is pretty healthy and safe, and it has a really high total at 168. So I just think you load up on this game. This is like this is like the Kings versus Rockets for us back in the NBA days. Wires money to Josh. Any sneaky plays tonight? Maybe. I mean, sneaky in terms of ones that I guess people that wouldn't consider are popular plays. Because, I mean, I think pretty much every play in this game is probably going to be popular. But I think free throw props could be sneaky here in this matchup. If people are only considering the point totals and the PRA or fantasy. I think we might be able to find some sneaky plays in the next game but yeah, let's get to the next game. So next game, both these games start at the same time. So we're gonna have an early night. Both start at 7 p.m. Eastern. And this game we have to worry about big time. So this game we have two really solid defenses, and we have Atlanta on the road traveling to Connecticut, and Connecticut are 10-point favorites with still a decent spread at 158, which is kind of surprising with these two defenses. But what I really want to point out about Atlanta, and you got to take a lot of their stats with a grain of salt. So they're first in defensive rating, they're second in rebound percentage, and they allow the least amount of points in the paint. However, like I said earlier, I kind of foreshadowed this earlier, but they had, I think, one of the easiest schedules in the league. 7 of their wins this year have come against teams with a combined record of 23-48. And none of these opponents have a winning record out of all 7 of their wins so far this season. And 3 of these wins, Indiana, which we just went over and broke down. So, yeah, they got to play Indiana 3 times while Phoenix played them 0. And on top of that, Atlanta is probably one of the worst road teams in the league. On the road, they average only 75 points per game, which is the worst. And they have one of the lowest field goal percentage on the road, little less than 40%. And opposite of that, Connecticut is one of the best home team defenses. So defensive rating at home, they only allow a little less than 30% shooting from 3, so which is top in the league. So they shut down the 3 ball at home, and that's just probably just energy and just more hustle, switching and attacking the perimeter. And and Connecticut, we have seen their front court defense one of the best, and their front court offense, they lead the league and near the rim. So they're averaging around 27 field goal attempts per game within 5 feet of the rim, which is first in the league. So they really thrive on attacking the paint with Jonquel Jones and Brianna Jones off the bench, and even Alyssa Thomas. So they're really going to try to pound it inside. But Atlanta, like I said, they allow the least amount of points in the paint. So something has to give. But I think Atlanta's being on the road, a lot of those stats being inflated, I think Connecticut can still have their way, especially inside. And Jonquel Jones, I feel like, is live in any type of game environment. And Brianna Jones just continues to thrive off the bench. So I totally get it if you want to keep writing her props and not be scared away by some of these inflated stats that Atlanta carries with it. And yeah, I mean, I think we have to just treat Atlanta as a different team road. So I think these stats we shouldn't be scared away by for Atlanta. And I think Connecticut can really thrive here. But as a result, if they do really thrive, it could turn into a blowout, and Vegas thinks that way with a 10-point spread. So I guess we can start with Connecticut, and along those same lines in theory, I think we can Quell's points, and probably her free throw prop too. Atlanta's second in the amount of free throw attempts allowed, and yeah, she gets to the free throw line at a very high rate. She's averaging around 3 free throws made per game. They have her prop right there at 3, but I think she could get to the free throw line quite a few times in this matchup. And then Alyssa Thomas, she started the season really hot and slowed down a little bit, coming back down to her normal averages from past years. So I don't know how to treat her going into this matchup. So I'm probably just going to focus on Jonquel Jones and Brianna Jones for either their free throw props, because I think they're both at 3. Yeah, they're both at 3. And Brianna she's averaging over that at 4 free throws made. So you would even feel better about that. Free throw props, you can even consider their PRA or points. And then the last one I want to touch on would be Courtney. She's really struggling lately. I think the last 3 or 4 games, she's not scored more than 10 points. Her shot's just off. It's just not there. But this is a bounce back spot so being at home and going against her former team. So I'm curious to see what you think on these players, and if there's anyone else you like. They did give us also additional bench player in Carrington, who's been trying to come in and help out the backcourt, because the backcourt of Connecticut offensively has really been struggling lately. Heidemann has taken a step back because she started off hot, and she's also has regressed. So Carrington is trying to fill fill in the gap at times as well. So curious to see what you think of Connecticut.
Yeah, I'm definitely right there with you. For me, I want to still attack with the bigs here between either Jonquel or Brianna. Love Brianna, her real points. She's been taking several trips to the free throw line, so you could definitely take a shot on her free throw prop at 3, like you mentioned. But for me, I just want to go for the real points here. She has these kind of streaky rebound games where, she'll get a couple of those, get a few stocks here and there, but her purpose for the team is to score. Like that is her sole purpose. She comes off the bench and she scores. So until really PrizePicks kind of overly adjust for these, you can see, especially in the last 4 games here, she's just been absolutely crushing that. And I don't think anybody is surprised that she barely missed out on that 5th game there against Vegas. And she actually got into some foul trouble and had to sit for an extended amount of time. But the excuse me, but the games prior to that, she's actually been cruising right over this 12 marker for some time now, and just a lot of energy off the bench. I foresee between the kind of triple big setup that they have whenever she is on the court that a lot of these teams are really struggling to find themselves defensively on how to stop this front court from Connecticut here. And as you mentioned with the kind of secondary pieces and some of the guards here for Connecticut, it's been a bit of a back and forth mess. And surprisingly, a lot of these games that they are struggling, it's because the guards are not pulling any kind of weight and helping in, the scoring category like they should be. So for me personally, if I was to go to a guard, I do like Courtney Williams mostly for the revenge narrative. Played for Indy last year, or played for Atlanta last year, and then obviously was traded to Connecticut. So we could see maybe either her points or even her rebounding is still fairly low at 4. That's been kind of right around her season average. But I think for me today, I would not play them in the same line or the same card, of course, but between Brianna Jones, her real points, or Jonquel, her PRA, I really love today, or her real points.
Yeah, I feel like it's always live for Jonquel with her PRA. Get behind that.
Yeah, and she missed last game, or she missed her prop line last game because of foul trouble. So don't expect that to be quite a thing here. Atlanta isn't too bad, and Connecticut typically plays a lot better at home, like you mentioned. So I'm feeling the stars are going to come out for them tonight.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and Atlanta, they do not, like I said, they not only don't play well against tough opponents, they pretty much lose every time they play against winning teams and top 5 teams. So I expect the same thing today. I'll nominate her. Okay. I never play Bonner. I just don't trust her. I mean, she's been very efficient scoring wise, but yeah, I tend to gravitate towards Jonquel and Brianna for the scoring when I play Connecticut slates and cards. So
yeah, I would only take her Bonner's points if you're considering anything for her.
Okay. Let's see. I saw when we started, it was Wheeler is officially ruled out. It was expected, but we got confirmation on that, so that's good to know. And interestingly, so McDonald's been playing in place for her, but interestingly, PrizePicks gave us a second bench piece for Atlanta and gave us Asia, who hasn't played that many minutes, so a lot of her averages are going to be really low. And yeah, I mean, PrizePicks, I think with her probably don't know her, so they have her lines really low at 5.5 points, 9 PRA, and 10.5 fantasy. But again, it's risky. Don't know what to expect from her. But if you want some low lines, I get it. I think, with Connecticut being so stout in the front court, I think and the way Atlanta plays at a fast pace and they try to stretch teams out and play from the perimeter, I think they're going to have to try to get it done more from the perimeter. But like I said, Connecticut, they shut down the three ball, less than 30% shooting. So, players like Christy Wallace, who we'd like to target because she has that 3-point shooting upside, and her point props are usually pretty low, like today at 7.5. But I think if Atlanta's going to stay close, I think they're going to have to ride Rin here. And if I was going to target anything for her, it would be her fantasy because it's so low at 24.5, averaging over 30 per game. And we've seen her be really productive, filling the stat line, picking up stocks, like over 2 stocks per game. And she doesn't really turn the ball over either. She averaging only 1 turnover per game. So that's always really ideal for targeting fantasy points. That's pretty much the only one that stood out to me because I think they're really going to have to lean on her. Billings has been super productive rebounding. She's really been dominating lately. But you couldn't ask for a worse matchup against Connecticut here, who's number 1 in rebounding because of all those big bodies in the paint, especially when they go twin towers with Jonquel and Brienne on the court together. But it's low line. It's a 5.5. If we expect this game to be a defensive struggle and a lot of bricks to go up with low field goal percentage, I can understand why you would go with that 5.5. And the same goes for Rin too. If Connecticut's guards continue to struggle shooting from the outside, she could pick up some rebounds too. And she's only at 3.5 for her prop, and she's averaging over 4. And she's been really picking up rebounding as well. Anything else stand up to you, or what do you think of those pieces that I went over?
Yeah, I definitely like honestly almost all the same plays, especially I think for Rin, I'm a little torn between her rebounding prop just because it's such a low bar, and also her fantasy just because we haven't seen it that low and almost since the beginning of the season here. So her picking up a lot of her stocks and peripheral stats have really been helping pad this if she has a lack of scoring night. But for I think any of the other pieces here, I had a small bit of interest in McDonald's assist at 2.5. I kind of wanted to highlight that. Just taking a look at not only the previous 2 games where she's essentially had the start, second game, 2 games back when Wheeler went down, she had 3, and then here this last game, whenever she started, she had 4. But if you take a look at her previous seasons here with the team, anytime that and it doesn't really matter if she's starting or not, but anytime that she's pushed the upper 20 into 30 minutes, she's had a really good success rate with assists here and being able to get a lot of open looks for her teammates. So just kind of wanted to give maybe a mid-tier, but a little shout out to that. And for me, if I am playing Atlanta side of the ball, I want low prop lines, low bar, just in case anything happens and we don't get 4 quarters of action.
Yeah, it is pretty low for someone who's gonna have to be making. But yeah, I mean, Atlanta is probably bottom in the league with Indiana in terms of assist rate, overall team assist rate. They just don't. Yeah, they don't spread the ball around that well. A lot of ISO and perimeter shooting. So, but I mean, yeah, so with that said, someone has to pick it up. And interestingly, so far, PrizePicks only gave her assist prop on no other assist props for any other Atlanta player. So I get it.
And they did that with Wheeler too. She was one of the only ones. Well, we got Rin for a little bit there, but Wheeler was the main one that always had the assist props.
Yeah, it's just, I imagine it's just because all of them just don't have a high assist rate and just low assist averages, so they're afraid to put anything out there where if they go too high, then it's easy under, and you can't go too low. So they dropping lines for their assist. Yeah, I mean, I like in the sense that how low it is for someone who's probably going to dominate the ball handling and playmaking, but yeah, it's just not a good game environment for scoring from her supporting cast and the receivers of those from her passes on the other end. But yeah, it is low. It is low. Hopefully, just get a couple three fast break or something like that. I think Cheyenne Parker. I mean, she's flashed upside, and we know she has a ceiling, but this is a really bad matchup for her. Do you have any interest in her props? I feel like all of her prop lines are right there.
Yeah, they're right there on the edge of good or being reasonable to bad. I think, especially in this tough matchup, maybe her points, if she's going to be able to drag whoever's covering her out to defend the three ball, maybe she might have a little bit more success. But if they're going to be attacking the paint and she's trying to score that way, then it's gonna be a pretty rough night.
I agree. Um, I think so. It looks like the only free throw prop we got for Atlanta is Ren, which is good because I mean that would be the one I would want to target. Atlanta just doesn't get to the free throw line that much because, like I said, the type of offense they run where they try to spread you out and play from the perimeter. But she would be the one that's going to be more aggressive and attack the basket because she's averaging over 2 made per game. They have her at 1.5. So if you want a low line, if you need one filler piece, that would be one I would consider for her as well. Because John Cole Jones is up there, top in foul per 100 possessions. She can rack up fouls. So yeah, it's just a matter if Ren's gonna be aggressive and attack the basket at all. But yeah, that's pretty much where I stand. I'm not really keen on any Atlanta players because all the things that we went over earlier and the way this is setting up in this game environment. So I might just have one piece, if anything, from them, and just take pieces from Connecticut and then just load up on the other game.
Yep, that's the plan for tonight.
Or I mean, if you don't feel good about any of these, I mean, just cut this game out and just treat one game slate like the game earlier today where the team had success. So yeah, I think one other note I had, if we're worried about blowout, I would consider Brianna Jones' first half PRA. She plays the entire second quarter, but she only around 2 to 3 minutes in the first quarter, so that's the only concern. But she's been pretty productive at clearing that. Just in case if you're concerned about the blowout, yeah, it's at 9.5. So that was one I jotted down and marked for those who are worried about a early blowout.
Yeah, and I also liked same page here with John Quell's first half PRA is super low as well. They bumped it back down after this last game.
Yeah, and it's not much tax either. I think we're paying like a 0.5 tax, so not too bad. For at least for Brianna. Okay, yeah. So I think those two can be considered as if you want like a one-off play from this game. If you're trying to fill in one last spot, depending on what kind of card you're building, a 4 power play or 5 flex. So we'll mark those down. Let's say slash 12.5. You know what that means. First half cut in half. Probably. Okay. And we'll take last comments and then we'll do our team card.
Yep. Give us an hour to build and
nice.
You gonna be hopping in voice chat or no?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
To share with the group. I know we don't mess with turnovers, Emerson said, but Alyssa Thomas 2.5 because of their D. Yeah, I mean, Alyssa has shown propensity to turn it over for sure. And Atlanta can be scrappy, so I get it. But yeah, Atlanta's just not that great on the road. McDonald turnovers instead. Yeah, I mean could be a good call out. She's not. This is someone who's coming in filling the shoes and the playmaking shoes of Wheeler. Some not that much miles under her, and inexperience could get there. Especially in this on the road against a very stout team. Um, yeah, that could be considerations. Pretty low at 1.5. Averages over 2. And what about Parker's 25.5 fantasy, Emerson said. So, yeah, we touched on her. She has been playing well recently, but it's just not a good matchup at all. But you have a gut feel on it. I just feel like with the other game being so juicy and having so much potential, I those kind of plays I would be fine to play. But if you get, like I said, if you got a gut feel. Underrated said, "Why do you think PrizePicks didn't raise Brianna's points after crushing it?" I think part of it is one. I think just her being a bench player, but they haven't accommodated her pretty much playing starter minutes, and they're still treating her as a bench player. And then two, I think just Elena's stats probably their algorithm. I guess is probably just going off of stats where season-long stats where Elena has been, like I said, number one defensive rating, and then number one paint interior defense, allowing the least amount of points in the paint. So and that's where Brianna lives. So I assume that's why. What do you guys think on Vivian's assist? Okay, we didn't touch on Vivian that much, but we can do. I don't really have a strong lean. A lot of times it seems like Indiana the assists are random, and it seems like Kelsey's been making lately. Do you have a lean, Eric?
Sorry, what was that last question? Victoria's assist?
Yeah, Vivian's assist. Someone asked.
Probably not, just because we've seen that Robinson has been kind of stepping into that role as of lately, and Indiana got a piece back tonight. I can't remember who was it, Hollister or somebody else, one of their players rejoining the team. So that would give me a little bit of pause. Honestly, I'm probably not playing anybody from Indiana outside of Mitchell or Smith tonight.
Yeah. Randy asked about Carrington's first half. What does her first half rotation look like?
She checks in late. Basically plays like the round off minutes at the end of the quarter.
Yeah, because doesn't I know things have been changing lately, but traditionally Courtney plays a huge amount of minutes in the first half, and then Heidemann was at one point, but I don't know if they're going to change it up.
Yeah, and Connecticut also signed a guard today, a reasonable guard. So for me, just way too much stuff going on here in this kind of wonky matchup to touch any of those secondary pieces.
Yeah, it seems like she's playing just like pretty much 7-8 minutes in the second quarter. What's her prop line at?
Was it for the first half or?
Yeah, it's at 4.5. I get it. It's low. I think it just, it's with their backcourt. It just seems like a carousel right now. They don't know what they want to do, especially with Heidemann. I feel like it just depends on how Heidemann's playing, how Bonner's shooting. She'll check in for one of them. But yeah, she's gonna have to get it done in about 7 minutes.
Yeah, some of these props are a little on that edge. They definitely juiced up Connecticut's first half props here. Or some of their real points are a little bit higher than maybe they should be.
Yeah. No days off DFS said she should smash that fantasy considering that she will see minutes no matter the outcome of the game. Do you know who he's talking about?
I am not sure.
Oh, well, right after that, he said her usage went up with Wheeler out. So I assume he's talking about McDonald
Oh, probably, yeah.
or Rin. Well, one of the two.
Probably, I would imagine McDonald. I mean, she's been, since filling in for Wheeler, she's played 30 plus minutes. So,
Yeah.
if you're at least going to go minutes to production, that would be over. I think hers was only at like 20 or something. Super low for her. Yeah, 20 and a half.
Okay. I don't know how I feel about her this matchup, but I would say like if you were gonna attack Connecticut, it would be on the backcourt. So Nathan said prop detector today as well. Yep. For the YouTube members, definitely. Underrated said, does Brianna Jones play blowout minutes since she comes up to bench or not? Like true blowout, like emptying the bench, no. But we can just double check the most recent game. So here,
Well, she's already in the game at the end of the third quarter, going into the fourth, regardless.
yeah, I guess yeah. She looks like, and at least in this game, she played the cleanup couple minutes here.
She might not play the entire fourth quarter, but at least will be present for some portion of it.
Yeah. Skylar at 4.5 assists, a safe play, Jatoa said. She definitely has the upside. I think a lot of it depends on if Taurasi's making her threes and Diamond's hitting her shots, and Tina as well. But what scares me is just Taurasi being out there to soak up a lot of the playmaking.
Yeah, there's no way I'm going for Skylar's 4.5 over Taurasi's 4.5.
Guida said Alyssa's rebound. Yeah. I mean, both these teams are good rebounding teams, but if Atlanta is going to be throwing up a lot of bricks, I think you could definitely consider some rebound problem on Connecticut's side. Like even Eric said with Courtney's rebounds, and then Bonner's inconsistent rebounding. He said this stream has too few likes. What? Yeah, get the likes up. Like it up, peeps. He says. All right, appreciate the chat for the comments and questions. Let's do the team card. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. So I'm gonna actually go with a little bit of a. Did we have Diamond's first half props anywhere on the board for us?
We did not. I mean, she's been super effective in the first half. I just because of the game being such a low spread and high total, we didn't talk about it. We can add it.
I really liked her first half PRA, honestly. Just with the it seems like through the first rotation between her and Charles, they've been kind of just feeding those two in the open.
Yeah.
And, we saw she scored a ton of points in that first outing.
Okay.
And you don't have the added risk of turnovers if you go with the fantasy.
Yeah, she does. So that's for sure. Okay, I'm gonna add that. And then I'll go.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna stick with my initial first lean on Melissa Smith's 6.5 rebounds.
I like it.
All right. Here we go.
Let's see. Got to go back to Brianna. 12.5 real points.
All right. Did they finally have a picture for her? I feel like they did. They added it, right? Yeah, they finally did.
Yeah, sometimes it just depends on what they're uploading on the site.
Yeah.
They'll either give them a real picture or they'll just put the jersey picture up there.
Okay, and then I am gonna go, and then we can add a fifth, like collective one we both really liked. That people can rotate in. I'm gonna go with Tina's 1.5 free throws made.
Okay, I like it.
Happy game. Hopefully, she just doesn't sit there and chuck threes all game long, and at least gets in the paint and draws at least one shooting foul there. I mean, I wanted to. I mean, you could consider her points too, but it did get inflated. So I would say her 1.5 free throws / points. I just want exposure to her in this matchup somehow. And then our team card our team fifth that people can rotate in or just play the whole 5 flex. What did we both really like? I mean, we both really like Diamond, which we already have.
Let's see. Man, this is tough for Lasty. It's got to be something I feel like out of this Indiana Phoenix game, though.
I mean, we could go with Danielle's PRA or Kelsey's, Kelsey's lines.
Let's go with Danielle, actually. Her PRA. Give everyone an option for a fifth pick for a flex. It's all the way at the bottom.
All right. There you go. And yeah, if you're worried about free throws and drawing fouls, like I said, you can swap this out for her 16.5 points. I feel really good about that. Or her 1.5 threes too. And then Brianna, we also liked her first half PRA. And Diamond, you can even do her full game, 20 fantasy points. So a lot of mix and match you can do, get exposure to different ones. But I feel pretty good about this core one here with these props for these particular targets that we like.
Yeah, just make sure, whenever you guys are making card constructions that they're positively correlating and not like two players with rebound props from the same team.
Yep. Another thing is to take into consideration, I was going to make in the video, I was going to make on card construction strategies, but teams that foul at a high rate, the opposing team, it really hurts the assist rate overall. So fouling a lot and there's a lot of shooting fouls, it's really going to lower the assist potential on the opposing team. Looks like we can wrap up with team starter props. There are people out there interested in them. Let's see. We'll start with a 3-point made. All of them are above 1 except for Indy starters at 0.5. Now that's interesting because Kelsey Mitchell can come hot out of the gate and hit a 3. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, they're not giving any love for Indy today. Both their 3-pointer prop and their free throw prop is at 0.5.
Yeah, both of them like we said, with the pace that both these teams run. Yeah, and I think with Phoenix allowing the third most threes per game, you can definitely consider that.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And sticking to same spiel here, any of these honestly under 1 are going to be somewhat live every single time.
Yeah. And then 2-point Atlanta 2.5, no surprise, bad matchup. And all the rest are at 3.5. So
Yeah, they're getting closer to their probably more adjusted
yeah,
proper lines. So you could take some stabs there if you got any warm and fuzzies. But
I'm gonna add Indy's starters 0.5 and for 6, and then also their free throw. So this is our current list that we have. We built target list that we built live on stream. If you want to take screenshots or notes on anything, that's what we have. Looks like Tross will go, but I'm curious to see, her minutes if they handle her differently today. And then let's go down to our target list for the second game or the other game, since they both start at the same time. This is what we liked. I probably put John. What do you think? John Cole probably above Courtney, right, in terms of ranking?
yeah, definitely. The only drawback is we just like Jonquil and Brianna and wouldn't play them in the same card.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think going back to ECW's question about a sneaky play, I think it could be Rin's fantasy. I think people will be scared of the matchup for good reason, Elena being on the road, but I think she could get hot and just try to carry the team on her back, being a rookie young player. And it's very, very low, like Eric said. One of the lowest has been in a long time since the start of the season at 24.5 fantasy. So I think that could be maybe the one sneaky play to get at your question. But yeah, I think that's it. We'll wrap up here and give people time to build cards. And I will update the Pro Detector, drop it in the YouTube member. If you're not part of the free Discord yet, definitely join. It's a link below on the YouTube page. And then if you want to become a YouTube member, $5 a month, you can do that. And you get access to our final top 10 ranking list of prop lists that we go with, usually about 30 minutes before lock, because we like to fine tune it and touch it up. And then, so you can join as a YouTube member, just link your YouTube account to the Discord, and you will get access to that channel and that material. Each and every slate will provide a top 10 ranking list. And we will be back tomorrow. Is 2 game, 1 game? What is it?
Yeah, tomorrow just has a single game. I might be a little MIA tomorrow afternoon, but I would definitely be here for Friday's, I believe, 3-gamer.
Okay.
And most Thursdays we haven't had many or any games at all. So
yeah, maybe Thursday was break it down and then provide some NBA props too with it. Because I since it's 1 game, you can probably just combine NBA props with the one WNBA slate, or even throw in some baseball too. So, all right, chat, that'll do it. Eric, if I don't see you tomorrow, I'll catch you on Friday. I'll try to with someone else in the crew. I'll check in with them. If not, I'll do a solo quick just rank list of WNBA and NBA, like I said. But with that, you got anything else there? You want to shout out where people can find your YouTube?
Yeah, you can find me at Eric's Prop Stop. Got it in the name description here this time. So dropped a video just before we went live here, and I'll be available tomorrow to chop it up in Discord. I just got to do a little bit of running around during the daytime.
Sounds good. All right, chat. You guys have a good day and get that cash. Catch you guys later.
Good luck. Peace.
All right, man. I'm gonna update the list and I'll catch you in live chat.
All right, dude. I'll see you in just a minute. I'm gonna go walk the peppers.